How do I even get there? No.
Where?
In that quad out there.
I don't know. Never been out there.
Take it it's safe.
Yeah. Go on that ladder.
It's not the highest place in the world, but it's high enough for me. So welcome to episode 4 of Inside NuLife. This week, we're in Manchester at the Boardwalk, one of its most iconic music venues. We're also at some luxury apartment complex where we're doing a number of different floor services. We're back here in Liverpool, where we're on top of our warehouse project, and Jay does a bit of dancing. So, we're back here at our Liverpool Warehouse project. You may remember this from episode 1, where we were doing a lot of wood floor sanding, a lot of repairs to damaged sections of the wooden floor, and we had a swimming pool issue. This was what we classed as the swimming pool room. Behind me over here was a massive tarpaulin sheet of water that had been built up all the way around it, and it was a few inches deep in. Tarpaulin sheet of water. Tarpaulin sheet full of water. That had been built up around it to create what looked like a swimming pool at the time, and it was all coming from the leak in the roof. And obviously what we couldn't do is restore the floor whilst it was damp. Luckily, the leak in the roof got repaired just before Christmas, and we were able to make a start on this room. We've gone through a number of grits on this floor. I think we've got 60 grit and a couple more to go. And then we're done. We'll be ready for sealing once the repairs are finished and it's all good to go. But yeah, massive transformation from the swimming pool room to now what looks like a lovely, nearly restored pitch pine floor. So today we're at another one of Manchester's luxury accommodation developments, let's say. We're at City Suites in Manchester. It's been a client of ours since it opened around about 4 years ago now. It's one of the only places in Manchester that has its own swimming pool. There's not many of those about in the city centre where people can stay over. We undertake a lot of regular maintenance here. Another place that really likes to look after its furnishings. Today the guys are cleaning carpets on all the corridors from the 1st to the 14th floor, and we're also undertaking the deep clean of the pool tiles around the pool area and changing areas. So let's go take a look. Today we're doing a number of things, one of them being the restoration and deep cleaning of the pool tiles, hopefully ready for reopening sometime soon, which Jason's undertaking well there. Attention to detail is the key, which you'll see here. We pretty much do most grout lines by hand, so we can make sure that the detail is absolutely spot on. With this one, we're using a particular product which helps remove body fats and sanitises the tiles at the same time. So we're using that with a rotary machine on the larger areas, and again, where Jay needs to, he'll detail every single bit by hand to make sure it's perfect. If we have a look at these grout lines and the tiles, they are quite soiled because it's really difficult for them, for the in-house staff to keep on top of them because it's such a rough surface, which helps with the slip factor so people don't slip. It has to be quite a rough tile, which always difficult for in-house maintenance staff to keep clean and keep on top of. Hence the reason we come in on a regular basis, deep clean it all with our weighted machines and our grout brushes and the correct solutions that need to be used. We're going to be using our weighted 110 machinery. We have to use 110 equipment because we're working around a pool area. We've got a brush system underneath here which gets into the detail and into the uneven sections of the tiles and grout lines. We're using about 70 kilos here, which is going to really help get into all the uneven sections and into the grout lines, and then like Jay's been showing us, he's going to do the detailing by hand on the sections that it doesn't get to. You used to have these called Sniffy Snake when I was a kid behind your front door, didn't you? That's what they're for. Draft excluder, that's the one. However, these days they're much more expensive and they're called spill kits. So we put these around the edge of pools when we're working like this, which allows any solution that we're using to not go into the pool and obviously cause any contamination. And these things just absorb the moisture from our cleaning solution so it doesn't go into the pool. So just going that little bit further, making sure things are right when we're working and making sure we don't cause any contamination is really important to us. He's now going to extract it all off, allow it to dry to make sure that the standard and the quality is as high as what we need it to be. And then once he's done that, he'll rinse the floor down just to neutralise it, get rid of any residues, and that section's done. Moving on to the next bit. I know I'll probably get my comeuppance for this, but I've never actually realised there's massive potential that Jay in a few years could look like Mahatma Gandhi behind us. Very similar. Today we're going to be showing you another one of our projects in Manchester. We're lucky enough to be part of this iconic Manchester building, the Boardwalk, which back in the day was up there with the Haçienda. Oasis played the first ever gig there. People on stage here were people like the Stone Roses and the Happy Mondays, and it's been an amazing place over the years. However, because it was only open from 1986, I believe, to 1999, I personally wasn't able to witness and see what it was all about here. However, I know a man who was.
So when I heard the Boardwalk, I had the Boardwalk was an old club in town.
Correct.
Is it the old? Is it? But it's been turned into offices.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's probably another place where I, used to throw some shapes.
I don't know what you're doing to yourself. Let's get back to some real work and go inside and see how we are going to go about restoring the floors. And we've got Gary in here at the moment. He's restoring and sanding some wooden floors. It's an office development, this now. It's been transferred over the years. We're lucky enough to be part of this next stage of restoration. And Gaz is restoring the wooden floors in some office areas in the basement. So let's go take a look. Tal, absolute joke. We're in.
Right.
Thanks, Gary.
Right, we're on a wood floor sanding job in Manchester, an office building, and we're sanding some old boards today.
It's a species of wood called oak from a tree.
This is our new machine, which is a Lagler Hummel. It's only the second job we've used it on. We'll start off with the 36, which is obviously a rough grit, which will take all the old seal off, get all the dirt off, and it will flatten the floor. Then we'll move on to a 60s paper, which will take the lines out from this 36, plus it'll give it a bit more of a flattening off. And then the 80s, again, you're just going smoother and smoother each time. On a job like this, keeping the dust under control is really important, so this is why we always have the dust control, the DC2900 Eco, which is a really good one, HEPA filtered. Also on site, PPE is really important, so this is a mask I use, FFP3, which is I think about 99% particles, and air defenders are also really important. We use that for going around the edges, which connects up to the dust control to keep the dust down, and then we just use that to go all the way around the perimeter where the big sander doesn't get.
One of the most interesting parts about this job is normally when we're doing repairs to wooden floors, they need to be perfect, absolutely spot on. Here, at this project, there's nobody else in here other than me and you, Josh, I'm okay. So here, one of the most important things about this project that we've done is we've got to try and match our repairs into the existing things on the floors. Now, in this particular room, it's mainly pitch pine with a couple of pine inserts here and there, but none of the repairs match, none of the repairs actually, the boards meet properly, it's sort of all over the show. So it was really important when we're doing our repairs for us to try and match in so it looks, I mean, a bit of a patchwork quilt is probably the right word to use. It looks rustic. Like I keep saying, keep the rustic look. Giving it that rustic, give it that rustic look. Rustic look, rustic, so rustic, this lovely rustic feel, which is what the client wants. Just look at how many nails on here. We're pointing out the nails because when we get floors like this that have got so many nails in the floor, it's really important that we punch them low enough down into the wood so it doesn't damage our sander. A couple of things can happen. Like Niles rightly said, it can damage the drum on the machine, which is an awful lot of money for us to repair. So I thank them for punching nails enough not to ruin the drum. But it can also cause other health and safety issues like causing sparks and things that we've had issues with in the past, which is not a great thing to do when you're sanding wooden floors, creating a spark. So we are back in the boardroom area of our Liverpool project. And remember back in episode 1, we just sanded and finished the floor, which was great. However, then the client decided that they wanted to deepen the colour and try and blend it into the walls a little bit more in here. So unfortunately, it's all covered over now because we've resanded the floor, sanded it to perfection, applied a stain, a colour match stain, closest possible to the walls. And then we've also resealed the floor, but I can show you a little bit, and the quality is excellent as always from the lads. No one would ever know we've been here. So, we're here on one of the floors at City Suites in Manchester. We're undertaking the carpet cleaning maintenance of each side of the corridor. The maintenance process that we go through on these is it's all done with low moisture bonnet cleaning systems on carpets. There's a number of different systems that we use on carpets. There's probably about 5 or 6 different systems that we use. This particular one is something that it's a low moisture system. It cleans, deodorizes, it heat dries. It adds a stain blocker to the carpet in a real quick process for the hotel, for the client, so we can get the carpets turned around real quick. So we vacuum the carpets first of all. We'll treat any spots and stains with the specific stain removers, whether it's tea, coffee, solvent, depending on what the stains are. We then apply our dry cleaning solution, which is applied via spray mist. That's allowed to dwell for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then we use a bonnet system with a rotary machine, and we agitate the carpet in a north, south, east, west direction, making sure the carpet's thoroughly cleaned. Once that process is done, the carpet's groomed with a carpet brush to make sure that we don't leave any swirl marks on the carpets. And then dry, literally, I mean, this sort of stuff will be dry within 10 minutes after cleaning, but generally we say about half an hour after cleaning, the carpets are totally dry and ready to use. So the important thing with this process that we're using is that the turnaround time's perfect. The guests within the building don't get disrupted too much, and everyone can work as normal.
We've got all the main sanding out the way, now we're up to the fine sanding. which we're doing with the trail machine. The detail work around the edges with the orbital and the corner machine. This is a machine we use for fine sanding, which just takes any lines out and just gets it nice and smooth, ready for sealing. We'll go over it a couple of times with this, and then it's ready for the primer. Then obviously once everything's been vac down, dust free, we'll move on to the sealing process. On this job we're going to be using pre-lac, which is a primer, which is important to put down to get a good bond to the wood from the seal. We're going to be using Junkers HP Commercial, which does have a cross-link hardener, and that's a really good seal to be using on a commercial floor. It's extra hard wearing. We'll be putting 1 coat of primer down, 2 coats of seal, and in between the coats of seal we'll be buffing it off before we put the top coat down, which will give a good bond. Oak is pretty much the easiest wood to work with, as long as you've not got any problems with moisture and the temperature's okay. When we're sealing, it's important that you don't try and bring too much down at once, because you'll end up with drying in lines all over the place, especially when you're working on your own like I am on this job. So what I'll probably do, I'll probably break it into 3 sections. I'll start in there, and I'll bring it down here, work into a straight line, so then we're not getting any drying in lines. Then again, I'll probably go into this room. I'll fill that section in, and then bring another straight line down through the middle, and then I'll finish off from that top end, and then I'll work my way out the door. So basically, if we do it in 3 sections, it's manageable, and I'm not going to get any drying in lines.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
We've got 2 different finishes of the original floor, original pine floor, original pitch pine floor. So you're going to see massive colour variations when we restore the floors, but the client's happy with it. Like I said in previous videos, they want the original rustic look, which is what they're going to get, right? So in this section, this was quite a big area where we had to source some reclaimed pitch pine and put the infills in, but trying to keep it, again, sort of as patchy as the rest of the floor, I guess is the right word. It's one of those, you want to do a perfect repair, but you can't. But we've done some pitch pine repairs in this section. Brilliant. We're back at Liverpool. As we've been walking around, I noticed that we've not seen Jay for a while. I don't know where he is. Let's give him a ring and find out.
Hello.
Are you okay?
Yeah, good.
So listen, just on a separate note, we're just in Liverpool, updating this warehouse project. But I've noticed that you're not in episode 4. We've not seen you for a while. Where are you?
I'm taking a break. I've got all the filming to do, Mike. I can't be, you know. There's other people wanting me. So
Are you in demand?
I'm in demand, yeah. No, I'm taking a break.
Taking a break.
It's all this filming.
You've got a better caravan somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm going to get my mum's Winnebago.
All right, listen, we're missing you, but we'll catch up soon, yeah? He's got a better caravan somewhere else. Can't believe it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Back in episode 1 when we were here, we were talking about a concrete section that we were taking out. We were jackhammering the section out, and we were looking at putting an infill of concrete. The client's not decided exactly what's going on with that bit yet, so we'll update you on that hopefully in the coming weeks. But for now, we're done here in Liverpool, on to the next job. One thing to let you know about is we don't just do these walkarounds when we're on camera and for inside NuLife. We do them on every single job that we do. So every job that we do is checked, whether it's on site at the end of the job with the client, or whether it's a case of myself or one of the lads coming around at the end of the job and making sure that the quality is spot on. So it's something that we undertake, and we pride ourselves because we want to hand this job back in the best possible way it can be, and we do that every single time. So the sort of thing we'll look for is attention to detail around the edges, not just the centre of the floor, which is obviously always the most important bit to make it look amazing, but also detail around the edges, make sure the edges are spot on, the corners. We've obviously got these beams in the room all the way through, but the detail is perfect around the edge. We've made sure that literally every single square inch of wood has been fully restored and refinished to perfection. There was like a circle underneath there where it wasn't done. No, we're right, we did it, it's fine. Another little small point that I want to point out on this job is that there was a section in the middle here that had been damaged by water, and the boards had moved and slightly separated. Now, rather than trying to create a big challenge or a big problem for ourselves and more expense to the client, by repairing this whole area and trying to match it in better, what we've done is we've literally cleaned out the gaps in the wood, and we've put an expanding filler in there. So it's a colour match closest to the wood that we could possibly get, called Gap Master, and we've put that in there, which is expandable, so when the wood moves and separates over time, as it will do with temperature and moisture and humidity in the room, this is not going to pop out, whereas if we'd filled it with the dust and a resin for a solid fill, it would have then popped out over time. So this is a much more durable finish, really easy on the eye, looks great, and it's going to last the client for a long time to come. Yeah, it's a bit crazy really, because you know, I mean, this is just one room within this building, but it's hard to imagine that this place used to be like a club, an amazing music scene. Yeah, it's amazing really, isn't it? It's come a long way, all the original walls, the features, the beams and all that sort of stuff, and now it's quite a big office complex, so it's amazing really. So another job completed here at the Boardwalk in Manchester. The job's done to perfection. It looks amazing, as you can see, ready for us to hand over to the client, and it's going to be used as hopefully a bustling office complex or room or environment when COVID's gone away.